I say I've got 1,000 knives I've purchased, or was it 250? You said whatever number.
I had 500 knives for $1,000.
500 knives for $1,000. If I do that, I buy 1,000 knives for $500, and then I find, let's say you and producer, I say, hey, I bought these knives for 500 knives for $1,000. I will give each of you 250, but I'm going to sell them to you for $750 a piece. But I will help you gain the knowledge that you need to have to be able to sell those knives to make more than what I'm selling them to you for. Would that be less schemey to you?
No, because all that entails is you sit down with us for an hour.
Yeah,
and say,
but you know me, right?
These are the steps you can take.
You know me.
I know you, yes.
I'm talking about me. Like, let's say legit me. I do that. Do you think that I would tell you under false pretenses that I'm going to help you and teach you how to make an income that's worthwhile?
But that's the thing, though, is that it wouldn't be under false pretenses. Because if they sell the knives, they can make the money. So there's no lie there.
Right.
There's no trickery of you saying, it's not like you're going to give them the knives and then you disappear into the wind and it turns out the knives are made of plastic and then we're fucked out of money. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the case.
Right.
You could sit down with us and say, here's the script you have to follow. Here are the things you have to do to sell these knives. I'm now going to leave you to your own devices now that I have your money and I've made a $500 profit.
More than that.
Well, because if I bought them for $1,000,
right,
and if I buy 500 for $1,000,
right,
and then I sell 250 for 750, 250 for that's 1,500. Yeah. I've made $500.
Right.
And you're out $750.
Yes,
which you then have to turn around and try to sell 250 knives for $1,000 in order to make any kind of a profit, or to make any money back. You then have to sell them for more than you paid, but you're selling less knives than I originally had.
Right.
And that's the thing of a pyramid scheme, is that we sit down and we talk, and I say, this is what you have to do. Now go out there and do it. And then you don't hear from me again. Mm-hmm. I don't check in on you. How's the knife sales coming? Are you selling those knives?
So are you looking for a boss then? To like, you don't want anything to do with like being left to your own devices? Is that the thing that you have a problem with?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with a pyramid scheme, is like, that
you're left to your own devices.
Yeah, you're like, okay, well now what do I do? And then if you call me and you say, well, what do I have to do to sell these knives? Well, have you tried old folks' homes? Have you done this? Have you done this? And then the only time you hear from me is if you call me asking me for advice. Whereas if I was the manager of Eric's Knives, and it was my job to excuse me, sorry, and it was my job to sell these knives to keep my business open. Then I'm in the store. I'm looking at the register. I'm looking at the numbers. Why haven't we sold any knives this week?
Right.
What can we be doing differently to sell knives? Mm-hmm. I already got your money in the initial meeting. I convinced you to give me money for these knives.
Right.
Now I don't give a shit. I'm off to something else now. I'm doing something else with the $500 I made from my sale of these knives to you two buffoons.
Right.
And now you then have to find buffoons. And that's how it works. It's a completely different thing.
What I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, what I hear is that if you're left to your own devices to figure out how to make your own money with a product that is legitimately worth what you paid for, then that's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if I decided that I was going to invest in a business of my own, then sure, leave me to my own devices, because I'm trying to make. But if I only have X amount of knives, and the only way for me to get more knives is to get back in touch with you once I've sold the initial knives, that doesn't do anything for me except keep me selling the same amount of knives. Whereas if I started a knife company, then I'm manufacturing knives, and this one can cut through glass. This one will
cut pennies.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a knife guy,
I think that's the idea here, that if you go into a multi-level marketing company with your point of view of it being a pyramid scheme, you will never act as if you were the boss, as if you were creating your own business. And I think for a person who goes into a situation like that, who is creating their own business, that's when it becomes a multi-level marketing company. They are creating their own business. And if you go into it looking for a boss or a manager or a person who's going to coddle you or hold your hand, not you, but like the general you, and hold your hand and walk you through the process, then that might be what a pyramid scheme is.
no.
Like if that's what you're looking for going into it, you don't want the responsibility of being a business owner, then it's a pyramid scheme.
No, if I wanted to be a business owner, I'd buy a McDonald's franchise or something that
why
is
that
viable. Because
what isn't okay? So what isn't viable about a multi-level marketing company?
Just anytime somebody says to me, like, if you want to hire me to do a job, and you say I'll bring you on, and then eventually you'll be, whatever, right? It's if you tell me initially I have to give you such and such amount of money in order to be involved in this company, I'm going to look at you sideways, because why do you need my money if you're so successful? You're having such success selling these things. Why do you need me to give you money when you know I don't have, when I'm coming to you because I need an income? You know what I mean? Like if I had money to start my own business, I'd open a Subway or some kind of thing where I would, people come in and they buy food every day, and that's how I, you know what I mean? Like it's a different thing or if I said, I have bread, turkey, and cheese. Buy this from me, and then you sell sandwiches. That's a different thing.
I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that it's that much different. Aside from the mindset and the point of view towards one particular business model or the next. I've done a couple different multi-level marketing companies. Like I've been involved in and paid a good chunk of money to do a couple different things. And what I paid to be involved in that, to me personally, was worth it.
Okay.
And for no other reason than who I became through the process.
Right.
Like the investment.
Did you make
in
your
myself.
investment back?
No. Not from the financial point of view, but I wasn't trying to invest money. I think last week where I said people that are income oriented versus outcome oriented. Do you recall?
I think that might have been 2 episodes ago, but okay. Yeah.
So like whenever I go into anything, for me, like I absolutely have to have money. Like that's just a necessity, right? I have to pay rent, car insurance, phone bill, like the necessities.
Yeah. So many things.
And honestly, I could probably do without car insurance and a phone bill if I wanted to ride a bike and not have a phone.
That's true.
And I could probably even not pay rent if I wanted to live at a homeless shelter, or live underneath a bridge down by the river.
Yeah.
But
I don't ever want to feel like I did that day. Yeah. Under the bridge downtown, actually, is where I drew some blood. It was a weird night. I walked through the streets because she's my companion.
We're singing a song
through
right
the
now,
hills because they know who I am.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, yeah, it's fine. So, like of course, I have to make money,
right?
And I'm not saying that the money that I make isn't worth the effort that I'm putting into getting it,
Right.
And so, having said all of that, other types of business opportunities where I'm not seeing a return on investment as soon as I think that I should, like the return on the investment ends up coming in a different form later on down the road. Like some of the things that I learned as a Beachbody coach, or with Lavelle, or with the most recent one, Primerica, those things that I've learned has actually made me a better bartender.
Okay.
Like my ability to interact with people and to upsell and just regular old conversations about whatever it is going on in their life. Like not necessarily like a psychologist, but to like really get involved in the person that's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, like all of those things that I've done that were multi-level marketing has made me a better bartender and has made me a lot more money as I've learned a lot of those things, like the personal interaction, like the ability to articulate what I'm thinking and to ask the right questions to the people that are in front of me.
Right. And that's great. That's fantastic. But the person in charge of whatever it was that you gave your money to now has your money and other people's money, and that's how they make money.
Yeah, but like
so
it's not a scheme though, is what I'm saying. Like what they had to offer was worth it had I invested what I needed to invest time-wise. And not just time-wise, but energy-wise too. Like so Primerica, they sell life insurance.
Okay.
Had I like they were going to pay for my life insurance certificate to the, what do you call it?
Certification?
Yeah, certification.
Okay.
They would pay for that, and then once I got that done, they'd pay for my securities license.
Okay.
And then they pay for trips to conferences. And I had a conference paid for in the first like 3 months of being involved in that.
And how much money did you come out of pocket to them initially?
So it was like $25 a month for like 6 months, which really isn't that bad.
That's not terrible.
And had in that 6 months, I studied enough that like to be able to pass an exam to get a life insurance license you got to do a lot of studying. And I did do a lot, but I didn't do nearly as much as I needed to be able to pass an exam. But had I put in the time and effort to study, they would have paid that. It ends up being like $3,000 for that.
Well, that's a different thing then, because then they're also. That sounds to me like they're also investing in you,
right? And that's what I'm saying. A lot of
which is not a pyramid scheme. That's not the same thing.
But it is a multi-level marketing company because they do encourage you to get people to sign up under you. And that's the same thing with Beachbody, like with Shakeology. Beachbody, it's a workout platform.
Do they encourage you, or is it required? Encouraged.
There's no requirements as far as that's concerned.
Well, then that's different.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like there are a lot of multi-level marketing companies that you are actually getting what you're paying for. What you're paying for is worth what you're getting. That's what I'm saying. Like with Beachbody, you got your 30-day supply of the Shakeology, which was the best meal replacement shake I've ever had, and it costs less than a coffee a day, like at Starbucks.
Today's episode of the Personal Growth Podcast brought to you by
Shakeology. But no, for real though, that
high
quality
sponsor us, please, somebody. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So my coach, the person that signed me up for that, got a small percentage of what I paid for my Shakeology.
Okay.
And I think it may have been like 5-10% of, and it's like $100 for the Shakeology itself.
Okay.
And that's a 30-day supply, and you have like a reoccurring payment, and you're paying for that product, and you get that product. And then if you sign people up below you, they're getting that product. You're getting the commission off of the product that they're purchasing. And then if they sign people up, then you're getting a commission off of what people are signing up, and then the people below them, and the people below them. And that's
Which is a pyramid scheme.
The multi-level marketing, because it has tiers, and the more people I get signed up,